Sarah Ferguson turns her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, into pariahs. Welcome back to Crown Chronicles, the home of royal truths, untold stories, and the dramatic pulse of Britain's most famous family. If you're passionate about royal secrets, the Windsor legacy, and everything happening behind palace walls, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because today's story is one you absolutely don't want to miss. In this explosive episode, we dive into the royal storm surrounding Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, and how her own actions may have pushed her beloved daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, to the very edge of royal exile. Once the picture of warmth and unity, the York family is now facing whispers of isolation, royal rejection, and a reputation that even centuries of aristocratic grace might not save. For years, Sarah Ferguson, affectionately known as Fergie, was considered the comeback queen. Despite her divorce from Prince Andrew in 1996, she remained a visible and surprisingly beloved figure, managing to charm the public and even maintain a friendly relationship with her ex-husband. But in recent times, that charm seems to have faded under the weight of royal scandals, financial troubles, and public controversies that have not only tarnished her name, but might also be dragging her daughters down with her. Behind the scenes, royal insiders whisper that Beatrice and Eugenie, once seen as the next generation of modern, relatable royals, are now paying the price for their mother's relentless quest to stay relevant. Once welcomed at the most glittering royal events, they now seem increasingly distant, their appearances fewer, and their standing within the firm growing colder by the day. So, what exactly went wrong? Let's rewind the clock. When Sarah Ferguson joined the royal family in 1986, she was a breath of fresh air, fiery, funny, and unapologetically herself. The public adored her energy, and the press couldn't get enough of the red-haired duchess who seemed to bring life into the monarchy. But Fergie's spontaneity soon became her downfall. Scandals, from financial missteps to those infamous tabloid photos, began piling up. While the royals tried to manage the damage, her impulsive decisions and money woes became headlines the palace could no longer control. Fast forward to today, and history seems to be repeating itself. Following Prince Andrew's devastating fall from grace over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, the York family's image has been under siege. Despite her attempts to project unity and optimism, Fergie's own interviews, book deals, and media appearances have often reignited controversies that the palace would prefer to keep buried, according to palace sources. King Charles is said to be deeply concerned that the Duchess's public behavior, from her blunt statements about royal life to her continued financial ambitions, risks drawing Beatrice and Eugenie into the same whirlpool of criticism that engulfed her decades ago. And now, that concern seems to be turning into quiet action. Royal watchers have noted how noticeably absent Beatrice and Eugenie have been from key royal events lately. While the official explanation often revolves around private schedules or young family priorities, insiders suggest something deeper, a strategic distancing. Not from their grandmother's legacy, but from the shadow their mother continues to cast. Beatrice, who has always been regarded as the more traditional and duty-oriented of the two sisters, has reportedly been growing increasingly frustrated. Sources close to the Yorks say that Beatrice feels caught in the crossfire, torn between her love for her mother and her desire to maintain a dignified royal image. Eugenie, on the other hand, has always been closer to Sarah and has publicly defended her more than once. But even she is said to be feeling the strain. With her own life split between the UK and Portugal, Eugenie appears to be choosing distance, both literal and emotional, from the growing drama surrounding Royal Lodge, and yes, Royal Lodge. The sprawling Windsor estate that Sarah and Andrew have shared for years has become the epicenter of royal tension. With the king allegedly pressing Andrew to vacate the property as part of a royal real estate reshuffle, Sarah has stood her ground, refusing to be evicted and continuing to call it her home. But palace aides say her defiance has made things very uncomfortable for everyone, especially Beatrice and Eugenie, who are being pulled into the storm simply by association. The girls are loyal to both their parents, said one royal insider. But they're realizing that loyalty might be costing them their standing in the royal family. The king has made it clear that the monarchy must move forward, and that means leaving behind anything that reminds the public of past scandals. The result? A slow, Painful sidelining. Invitations are drying up, photo ops are vanishing, and their royal profiles are fading. Even though both princesses are technically blood royals, without official working titles or duties, they rely heavily on goodwill and public perception, both of which are now under siege thanks to their mother's controversies. To make matters worse, Sarah's latest ventures have done little to ease tensions. From her controversial memoirs to her YouTube children's stories, and even her candid remarks about King Charles's reign, everything she does seems to spark a new wave of royal discomfort. Her resilience is undeniable, but it's coming at a price. Some royal commentators say that Fergie simply refuses to accept her place as an outsider. Sarah is the eternal duchess, one columnist wrote. She doesn't know how to fade quietly into the background, and her daughters are caught between admiration and exasperation. For Beatrice and Eugenie, the challenge is real. They've worked hard to build respectable lives, Beatrice with her work in finance and technology, and Eugenie with her charitable and art initiatives. Both have young families and a desire to create their own legacy. But as long as their mother's name keeps dominating the headlines, it becomes nearly impossible to escape the shadow. The palace's silence on the matter is telling. There's no official statement, no outright condemnation, but also, no defense. In royal terms, that silence speaks volumes. It suggests that the institution has quietly decided to let the Yorks fade out of the spotlight rather than attempt another public rehabilitation. For Sarah Ferguson, that's a heartbreaking outcome. Despite her flaws and missteps, she has always been fiercely protective of her daughters. She's fought for their acceptance, celebrated their milestones, and publicly defended their choices. But now, the narrative has shifted, from a mother's devotion to a mother's downfall, and that's the tragic irony of it all. The same passion that once made Fergie such a beloved figure may now be the very thing isolating her family, as the dust settles over Windsor. One thing is clear, the Yorks stand at a crossroads. Will Beatrice and Eugenie continue to walk the fine line between royal loyalty and personal independence? Or will the weight of their mother's past finally push them out of the royal circle for good? The answer might just determine the next chapter in the monarchy's ongoing evolution, a reminder that in the royal world, love, loyalty, and legacy are often at odds. Thanks for watching Crown Chronicles. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the drama, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more royal revelations every week. Tell us in the comments, do you think Sarah Ferguson has gone too far, or is she just misunderstood? Because when it comes to the British royal family, one thing's for sure, every crown has its cracks, and every secret eventually finds the light.